All right, next up, I am making measurements, trying to figure out how wide I want to make the loader arm bracket. It's going to be at the base of the tractor, and then that's what's going to mount to the uprights. So I think I had 38 inches wide total. And then I've got this cutoff from a boat trailer tongue. And there's a few things on it that I gotta cut off. So like I said earlier, I don't have actual plans for this. I'm still still planning it. But I know I need this cross member to be completely clean. So I gotta get rid of that bolt sticking out. And you'll see later, but I thought I had to cut off that little stand for the tongue. You could see me start cutting through it and then realizing I don't need to. So I'm just finding everything I'll need to make this cut. It'd be nice to have a chop saw or a bandsaw, but all I'm working with right now is cutoff wheels. So looking for things I need. That is my little punch I've sharpened over the years. I use that to scribe sometimes. I should get an actual metal scribe, but we're working with what we got. Okay, here I am. I am just sharpening my soapstone so I can make accurate marks on the steel. The end that I cut off of the trailer is not very square, so I'm going to try to clean that up before I start taking measurements off of it. And here's where I get distracted. I was going to cut off the end of that, but then that bolt was kind of bugging me. I'm still trying to figure out how to get it off of that piece of tube. So I think we're just going to get the cutoff wheel out and start going to town. Like I said, the cutoff wheel is basically all I have right now to cut steel with. So we're going to go through a lot of cutoff discs. And as you can see here, I start cutting off that little stand and realize I didn't need to do that because I have enough steel there to complete the cross member without dealing with that little kick out. So I took another measurement, and then I realized I should probably cut that in square, like I originally planned on starting to do, I guess. So we'll get to cutting that out. Alright, got that end squared up. Or I guess as square as I could get with a cutoff wheel. Ideally, I'd like to have either a chop saw or a bandsaw. I could get a portable bandsaw, put it in a stand, and then use it like a chop saw. It's much slower, but the cuts are cleaner. Less cleanup when I'm preparing to weld it. So that'll be square enough for what I'm trying to do with it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be capping that yet. So in the finished product, it'll be most likely capped, and then I'll grind it off. Now I think I'm going to deal with those little nubs from that threaded rod that was welded to it. Trying to figure out the best way to cut that off. Grinding would take forever, make a huge mess, but I think that's where I'm going to start. I'm working on getting this off here. Cut the grinder, realizing that's not really working, so I come back with a cutoff wheel. Then the cold chisel eventually takes it the rest of the way off. That'll just give me less to grind. And then we're gonna flip it back over and clamp it down, and then just work on grinding that smooth. I'll speed this part up too. Grinding's boring. So I start off with the abrasive grinder, because all my flap discs are worn out, except for this really large, 6 or 8 inch flap disc. That is definitely not made for that machine, but it's throwing sparks, so it works. Alright, so I get that all smoothed out. Now I'm going to be measuring for the overall width of the main bracket. So back to the cutoff wheels. This makes my shop so dusty, by the way. Like I said, if I had a bandsaw or a chop saw, I could do that kind of stuff outside too when it gets warmer. But get that cutoff wheel on, got my marks made, and I just go to cutting. Alright, so now all the cutting for the cross member is complete. I'm pretty happy with how the ends turned out as far as how square they are, how clean it is. If I do end up capping them, I will need to clean them up and make them smooth after I weld it. Okay, so now we're just mocking up and trying to figure out the best spot on the frame for the cross member. I've got a couple spots in mind. Ideally, I'd like to have the cross member come out right around the middle of the tractor, but there might be some bracketry in the way. I'm okay with cutting the brackets out because this will not have a mower deck on it ever again. Plus, I don't even think the mower deck that I have functions properly anymore. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it, just looking at it, seeing where the best spot for it would be. We got a clutch pedal in the way where it is currently, and then on the other side, that's where the steering joint comes down and makes contact with that bar. So I'm definitely going to need to have it pushed, I'd say 4 to 6 inches back. And then you might be able to see in another clip that there's little triangle brackets that come down to connect the mower deck to. I'm going to have to cut those out. And that should be a perfect spot for this cross member. And as you can see here, this is an issue. That clutch pedal hits that bar. It's not even tucked up to the frame yet, and it's already making contact. And then on the left-hand side, we've got that steering joint that needs replaced, obviously, but it still makes contact. So those triangle brackets are what I'm talking about. I believe I can get those cut out, and then the cross member should mount flush to the frame. Alright, and that's it for this video. Until next time.